Hi, this is Annette at needlepointers.com. Crazy quilting is a fun and creative way to use up leftover fabric scraps. Follow this tutorial to make a crazy patchwork heart. Since this crazy patchwork heart can be made with bits and pieces of fabric, rummage in your scrap fabric bin for red, pink, mauve, rose, or any festive Valentine fabric. To make the crazy patchwork heart, you will need scrap fabric, rotary cutter, quilting ruler and cutting mat, sewing machine, thread, scissors, sewing needle, polyfill, embellishments, and fabric glue are optional. To make this project, you will need a heart template. You can make the heart template yourself or look online for some to download and print. I made my own by folding a piece of paper in half, drawing half the heart on the paper, and then cutting it out. It turned out to be approximately 6 inches wide by 5 inches tall. Of course, you can make your crazy patchwork heart any size you like. This project involves lots of sewing, trimming, and pressing. Keep your cutting mat and ironing board close to your sewing machine for easy assembly. Here is my sewing machine, and you can see I have my mat, ruler, and rotary cutter right next to it. And then let me show you where I have my ironing board and iron. Right behind where I sit, I have my small ironing board, iron, and also I have the basket of scrap fabric. Choose a fabric piece for the center. Trim the piece so that it is a somewhat smallish piece with 5 sides and irregular angles. What I did is I cut a 2-inch square and then I removed some pieces around it so that it was 5-sided and has the irregular angles. From the scrap pile, select the second fabric you want to add. It should have one straight edge that is at least as long as the edge of one of the center pieces. If it doesn't have a straight edge, I like to cut a straight edge. Place the second fabric on top of the centerpiece with right sides together and with the edges aligned. Now I'm turning it over because you only need to stitch from the edge of the centerpiece to the other edge of the centerpiece, and you do not have to back tack. Stitch along the edge using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Remove it from the machine and cut the threads. Press the seam to set it, and then roll the fabric back and press. Next, you have to trim these edges. So here's the centerpiece, and lay the ruler on there and align the edge of that with the edge of this fabric and make a straight line. Then you're going to notice you want to do the same thing with this edge. You're going to trim. Okay, now we're ready to add another piece. Now I like to go around it in a clockwise fashion. So I will be adding the next piece, since this would be, here's the first, this is the centerpiece, that's the first one. So we're going to add a piece onto here for the next one. Choose your next fabric and make sure it has a straight edge and that it is long enough to go across the second piece that was added and the centerpiece. Now, sometimes, since this is a small piece, you may want to fold it back just to make sure that if you are going to be cutting, that it's cut straight. Now, as you see here, I don't have enough, so I need to move it up a little bit, like this, so that when I trim it, you can see that it'll be fine, and also this will be fine. So I need to sew it right there. Now again, I like to sew it on the back side because then I can see exactly where I have to stitch. Again, 1/4 inch seam allowance. I will press it to set it, then roll it back and press it, and then trim the edges, lining it up. I'll trim across there, and I'll also trim across here. Continue sewing pieces around the center, and then keep working your way out until the fabric is large enough for the template. So again, I'm going to this is my next piece, and I'll sew it on. And I'm going to continue to make my scrappy fabric until it's large enough. I have a little tip also that I want to share with you. Sometimes when you pick a piece, it's fairly large. As you can see, this is fairly large. So simply you can cut it smaller, and it doesn't have to be straight. It can be on an angle, and that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to cut it on an angle like that, and that's more of the correct size for going around. So you might have to trim things as you're going along, but use your own judgment, okay? And don't forget, you're going in a clockwise manner. I finished sewing the piece together. As you can see, when I lay my little part template on top, it fits. So you can either pin it and then cut it out, or you can use a chalk marker and mark around it and cut it out, but that would be the next step. Another tip is don't throw out all the scraps that you cut off when you were cutting the straight edges, because you could use those in another project. By making more of these, you'll have smaller pieces to make more crazy patchwork quilts, or maybe you'll want to make like a crumb quilt. After cutting out the scrappy patchwork heart, you're also going to need a fabric for the backing. And you can use just a plain one, or if you wanted, you could use another scrappy one on the back, but I'm going to just use a plain one. You need to put right sides together, pin it in place, then you're going to sew around it using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When you're sewing it, when you get to this point, do about 2 or 3 stitches straight across, and then sew around. And when you get to this point down here, again, do a couple of stitches straight and then continue sewing. Also, leave an opening of about 3 inches on the side for turning it. I've sewed around. Here's the opening, and now what you're going to do is you need to clip all the curves, but be careful, don't clip into the stitches. When you get here, clip into the center, and clip all around. I think I'll just remove a little bit of material from right in here. And again, clip. Okay, and then you're ready to turn it right side out. And you're going to push out all the seams so that it's a nice heart shape. Okay, that's what it's like so far. Okay, now we're going to stuff it, and with polyfill, and you can stuff it as much as you want. I've already made one. I'll show you. I didn't stuff it too much. This is the one that I've already made. It's just a little bit stuffed. Then after you have it stuffed, what you're going to do is you're going to fold this opening back 1/4 of an inch, aligning it with the seam allowance, and then use a needle and thread to sew it closed using the ladder stitch. And if you go to our page on the photo step-by-step instructions on how to do this crazy patchwork heart, we'll have a tutorial on doing the ladder stitch to close this up. After sewing the opening closed, it can be displayed plain or embellished with beads, ribbon, buttons, rickrack, cording, etc. Here are 2 crazy patchwork hearts that I've already embellished. As you can see, this one has some bead and a ribbon. This is more of a farmhouse look with the cording. Now what you need to do, it's very simple. You'll need some fabric fusible glue, and I'm just going to put a little ribbon on this one. Take the fusible glue and place a dot. Now this fusible glue will dry clear after it dries. Put on your embellishment and allow it to dry. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make some crazy patchwork hearts for Valentine's Day. Please like and share this video with family and friends. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss future videos. Help us by sharing our videos on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Visit our website, needlepointers.com, for lots of other free sewing projects and tutorials. While you are there, sign up for our weekly newsletter so you don't miss out on any future videos.